Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session. We have a very interesting session coming up. It's about austerity in Bhakti. We'll try to understand the term austerity, what it really means, and where it comes from, who design it, who prescribe it. So we'll try to get deeper in understanding this term, austerity itself, a little bit more. And before that, we will do an quick poll. We have two. I'll just launch a poll. We have two questions in that poll, and I'll request all of you to take the poll and answer those questions. And we will discuss the. I'll share the results later, and we can discuss about that in coming slides. So I'll not start with slides straight away, but I'll launch a poll now. We have about 29 participants, so about 28 responses we should get, and we should see how it is trending. There are two very simple questions, but please try and answer that. If you cannot, for some technical reason, please let me know, and we can hear your opinion about these questions subsequently. I launched the poll. It will appear on your mobile. There will be two questions, and you can choose one of the response, and then we can discuss later. I'll launch and we'll wait for some time. Yeah, I have launched the poll. You should be seeing two questions on the screen with two answers each. Yeah, let me know if you are able to. Oh, wonderful. End poll. I'm sharing the results. Hope you are able to view the results. So there are two questions. First is, purpose of life is to enjoy or perform austerities. And there are two choices. One is enjoy, and other one is austerity. So three answers have come, and so stop. So only three people have responded, I believe. 3 out of 27, 29, 10% participation. I'll try and relaunch it. Just see if you can still answer these questions, those who have not answered so far. Can you answer? Is this poll available to you for answering? Let me stop it and then see if I can relaunch it.
Prabhuji, it is appearing and just disappearing in a few seconds.
Understood. Yeah, I think disappearing. Yeah. No, I cannot. Let me see if I can relaunch it. No, I cannot relaunch it. Okay, no time to answer. So sorry. I closed it, I think, before all of you had good answer. But nevertheless, it's there in the slide and we can discuss the same. I'll just launch the slides.
Can it be put on the chat, Prabhuji?
I'll put it up on the slide itself so that you can see.
Okay, okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah, these are the two questions. You can use chat box to answer because that poll is no more available. Yeah, I'm looking at chat box. You can start answering.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
But is it not possible that there can be the both options also? Like mandatorily, if they are giving one answer, that becomes a mandatory that a bad thing should happen to the good people. So that is the frame of mind, means the reference of mind from where we are giving the answer. So
No,
hopefully
yeah,
that will
general
not.
question is good. General understanding is bad thing. Should bad thing happens to good people? Then that's a question. Yes, we are actually asking that question. Should it happen? It could be yes or no. Yeah, answer whatever you may feel, and we'll discuss it.
No, the in general answer is whatever is given by other devotees is okay. But sometimes it like if we define good people, so the definition of good people is in the reference. Like for devotees, only devotees are good people, and no one will seek the option yes that bad should happen for devotee. And again, the bad for devotee is if he has missed the association of devotees, and that cannot be seen from the material perspective. So in that way, actually, I was trying to ask.
Yeah, so it's more of a generic question, not a devotee specific question. Maybe that can
Yeah.
help.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, first question is very clear. Second question, bad things, bad things need some elaboration. I mean, because
Bad
that
thing
is
is
more.
anything against your desire, anything against your wish, which can give you pain. That is can be a bad thing. It's something that you don't want, don't expect.
Okay.
Yeah, Prabhuji, actually, nobody expects that's bad things, but even bad things sometimes happen for a good person. So that is based on a sanction by Krishna.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Krishna willing. Whatever happens to us, it's all Krishna willing, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah, I've
And
seen. I think
Prabhuji,
yes, Father.
one more thing is that it also depends upon our past karma, like whatever we have done in our past life, or maybe in our life previously, before coming to bhakti. So that could also lead to bad results. So bad things might happen, even if we are now devotees or we are now good. So this is as per my understanding, I feel.
Okay. Yeah,
Hare
fair
Krishna.
enough. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah, we'll close the slide and we'll go to the discussion. I think we've seen many answers, and most of the answers are that life is meant for performing austerities. It's not meant for enjoyment. And the second answer is a lot of people are saying that yes, it can happen. Should it happen? It could be a question, a different question, but they expect that it will happen. Whether or not it should happen or not, that's again a open kind of a question, but it is going to happen. That's given. So that's the trend what we've seen in the most of the replies given that we've seen so far. Okay, well, let's move forward. So as I said, the topic for today is austerity, and austerity penances is something that it's going against our natural instincts, going against our natural desires to do things. We have like yesterday was Ekadashi fast. A lot of cities are fasting today on account of Ekadashi, but Mumbai, Thane, this region had Ekadashi yesterday. Now, uh, even Ekadashi fasting is austerity for many people. People, which means though you have capacity, you have desire, you have a health to eat certain things, which you're restricted today. Your eating is restricted today. Now that is something many people will not like. They don't want such restrictions to be there, which means even performing a fast on Ekadashi, which is like very lenient fast, we can use so many things. If you were in temple yesterday, you would have had a feast, Ekadashi feast yesterday. Even that, but that is also certain type of certain type of material is used for cooking that feast, not other type of material. Dal chawal is not there. Our favorite cookies are not there. Cakes we cannot eat, which were made of maida. Even parle ji we cannot eat. Biscuits we cannot eat. A lot of other things, idlis you cannot eat, and many other things which we like, which we cherish, which we like, we always have a desire to eat, we are refrained from eating, we are stopped from eating. So that's a austerity we perform. So even that is a simple example of an austerity that we perform. So the question which we will discuss by taking a step backward is uh, why should we, why there is a need for performing austerity, who prescribed them, what is the purpose behind them, and what is the general worldview that with which the whole world is functioning as we see. So do people really have free will, or they are simply controlled by their feelings, desires, and impulses? That's the first statement. We say we all have free will, and on the other hand we see that we are we act basis our feelings, we act basis our desires, we act basis our impulses. And some people call this as people act simply based on their chemical reactions. So we are on nothing but a bunch of chemicals which cost about 210 rupees including GST. And as the chemicals react in our body, responds our body, as chemicals secretes in our body, we experience feelings and we act according to those feelings. Now, this is a materialistic worldview. Apart from the devotees who have learned the scriptures, the rest of the entire world believe in this philosophy, that whatever they are, how one should act, you should act according to your feeling. Whatever you feel, you are right in your own perspective, I am right in my own perspective. There is nothing right and nothing wrong. There is nothing universal right, nothing universal wrong. And that is the kind of a philosophy that is promoted and practiced by whole world today. So taken an example, on the 21st May 1942, 4,300 Jews were deported from Polish town and extermination camp at Sebibor, where all of them were grossed to death. This death was, they were, there was a gas chamber that was created wherein all these people were stuffed, and and um, the poisonous gas was leaked into those chambers, and all the people who were stuffed there were simply killed in one small moment. Otherwise, and there are many estimates of how many people were killed, in how many Jews were killed by Nazis during that period. And some says 7 lakhs, some like says 2 million, or which means about 20 lakhs. Nobody probably know a correct answer, because Jews were brought from various places which were under German rules, and they were all grouped together and killed together. So if if the philosophy of the world basically is to enjoy and do as you feel, and that is what is promoted, your desires, your feelings are your feelings, mine are mine feelings. Whatever you should do, whatever you want to do, not what other people tell you to do. You should listen to your heart and do as you feel. Now this is how the world is preaching today. So if we see it in this example, the Nazis felt that there is a need to kill these Jew people who are anyway not following any dharma, who are anyway will end up going to hell. So we will just speed up their process of going to hell by collecting them and killing them at one go. And so this is what we can say is that Nazis were simply following their instinct, their feelings. And should they be then called as wrongdoers, something that they have done wrong? uh, Now we will support this philosophy, this theory, with another assumption which the world use today, that is that of survival of the fittest. Now, survival of the fittest is a phrase that originated from Darwinian evolutionary theory as a way of describing the mechanism of natural selection. So this I picked up from, of course, the internet, but this is what it basically imply is that if you are not fit enough, you will not survive. So in simple words, it means that, so one should not really, there's no room for one to complain that others are exploiting you, because you get exploited because you are weak, you are not strong enough, you are not the fit enough. So the one who is fit will obviously exploit the other people, the other who are not as fit as him, and they will enjoy them, they will exploit them for their enjoyment. So when you combine these two theories, that the life is meant only for enjoyment, and the survival of the fittest, we get the materialistic world of today, where everyone is trying to be stronger than other, more powerful than other, more richer than other, more beautiful than other, more good looking than others, more opulent than other. Everyone is trying to be better than other, so that uh, they can exploit the weaker ones, or enjoy enjoy those who are weaker. The life is meant for enjoyment. If you see through the advertisements which are shown on the television, or in general, the people around us, their worldview, if you will consider, now this is the worldview which they are living, that life is only meant for enjoyment. There is no other purpose of human life, and survival of the fittest is the reality. If you are not fit enough, you will you will not survive. So what Nazis did, they used their, they were, what was they they used their brains, scientific brains. They were, Germans were always advanced in technology, scientific research and technology development. So they used their advanced scientific brains to invent a gas chamber wherein they can stuff all Jews and kill them all in one go. Rather than, imagine killing 7 lakh people, 7 lakh Jews would have been a big task. You will at least bare minimum need 7 lakh bullets. And then there will be flurry of soldiers who will be just doing this job. Every day morning, come to office, pick up your gun, load it with lots of bullets, ask few Jews to queue up in front of you and shoot them one after one. And it would have taken them days and months maybe to kill 7 lakh people, is not joke. Uh, and now all that effort of theirs was uh, was made easy by invention of gas chamber, wherein you can just put everyone in a gas chamber, seal it from all sides, leak poisonous gas into it. Some people will flap for some time, eventually they will all be dead, and all remove all those bodies, put fresh lot of people inside it, and repeat the process. So whatever is the size of the gas chamber, according to its capacity, it can keep killing hundred and thousands and lakhs of people in just like that. So I will not be surprised if those scientists who invented those gas chambers and this poisonous gas, they might have been rewarded by by the government, by Hitler at that time, because anything what is the role of a scientist today? They make our job easy. Our job, Hitler has a job of killing Jews, and scientists made that job easy by inventing gas chamber. So um, they might have got good reward for this particular invention. Now, um, so this is the state. This is the stage. In the world. This is where we are. This is the materialistic worldview of today. This is where we live. This is the world where we live in, where everyone is trying to enjoy, and for that, they are trying ready to exploit others. Now, this is what their desire. Nazis' desire was to eliminate Jews from the planet, and they felt this is what their feeling was, and they were following their feelings and killing Jews left, right, center. And these numbers, 7 lakhs and 20 lakhs, nobody knows what's the exact estimate. So, and similarly, we humans are today killing animals for our tongue gratification, sense gratification. Why? Because we have not heard chickens coming together and launching a protest against humans because they've been slaughtered like this. A bunch of cows getting, sitting on a armored opposition against the slaughterhouse created, for systematically killing cows or buffaloes or goats or even chickens in such a way that it's in minimum time, maximum output can be produced, or maximum meat can be produced, the bones can be separated faster, skin can be removed, and it can be what generally takes day or days and many hours can happen in few hours or very, very quickly with more quality and more precision. And that is this is what is this is the stage in which we are in. Takes this example a little bit further. A rapist forcibly enjoy victim because of his desire to enjoy, and he has strength which allow him to enjoy. Now, if you would have seen the today's worldview, today's world in which we all function, we all live, we all operate, there is no scope for morality. There is no right, no wrong. Whatever you can do and get away, you are right. Whatever you can do and get caught, maybe that went wrong. Then you will figure out what went wrong, where I could have done something better so that I would not have got caught. So the morality is out of boundary. This doesn't exist in this world. And that is how the mentality of the world and the people living in this world has become now. A rapist can also justify, if this worldview has to be followed, and this is actual real scenario. The whole world is living with these two philosophies, and and this is the danger of extrapolating those philosophies to this extent, that if you only live for enjoyment, uh, and then even the rapist action can get justification because he was following his desire, he was following his heart to enjoy the victim. And that is what the world has taught him so far, that you know uh, that enjoy, that your life is meant for enjoyment, and that is what you should be doing all the time. You should always be looking out for various available means for enjoyment, and you should enjoy them. Now, uh, the so the whole worldview can get extremely disturbing if these theories are extrapolated and understood in the way they are implemented and followed by people in general. So what is happening here now? What is happening is we are all souls and we all have bodies, and those bodies, in those bodies have our mind, body, and intelligence. There is a hardware, there is a software, and in that software and in that hardware there are stored default um impulses, the default actions the body is used to take, because of previous constant indulgences, or those actions, those default have become frozen. uh, and because of that, whenever we face a particular situation, certain type of desires arises in our mind, and at times they become uncontrollable for us, and that is how the whole world get becoming succumb to the desires and to the defects of the system. For example, we may have this all our phones and computers nowadays have auto complete. The Saturday is a Sat is a short form for Saturday. Many softwares understand it that way. And when you type Sachit Ananda, you may get a result of Saturday Chit Ananda on your screen, because the computer might understand that you want to type Saturday, and you just have used a short form, and then it will try and complete it. So the machine has certain default settings and tendencies with which it try to act. Now, these tendencies are not frozen realities. They can be changed if we have a desire to change. The desire comes from higher knowledge. So, if Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 61st verse, Ishvara Sarva Bhutana Ruddeshi Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. That this soul is seated on a yantra, seated inside a yantra, and yantra arudha, जैसे अश्वारूढ़ होता है. The soul is arudha, or is situated in a machine, like a body made up of maya. That is maya. That is the material tattvas. And that is how it is wandering, and Ruddeshi Ishvara is guiding this wandering. So the machine of human body has certain default settings, and soul can change those settings. And if we have knowledge, we can change that setting. And if we don't have knowledge, we will live according to those settings. Our actions might get checked because of legal fear, because rape can be legally punishable, and because of that we may check our actions. Killing, murdering people, now what Nazis did cannot be done today in most of the countries because of certain regulations. But what Nazis did is, if given a choice, people will do that as well today. Even today people will do that. People Some people may not do it today because of the fear of the law. The law is something, using law we are trying to create the fear in the mind of those people, and hence check them from doing those things. But had that not been there, people would have simply created this. The life is meant for desire and survival of the fittest. The combination of these two is a very scary reality of the world that we all live in today. In combination, what it is providing us, and the scientific development has not helped us in any way, because science does not teach us right and wrong. Science simply help us, the material advancement simply help us do things in a better way. So if your desire is to kill Jews, I can give you better way of killing it. More efficient ways of killing Jews, wherein you can do that in minimum time with maximum proficiency, and your rate per hour can improve. All your parameters can be very nice if you use our technology for killing Jews. Now, science cannot decide whether killing Jews is right or wrong. Were all those Jews were really bad people? Were they really? Were they really? Did they really deserve this kind of a killing? Science doesn't care about that. Science will give you technology. Now, how you use it is your up to you, and that the teaching does not come from science, because science, it's outside the boundary of science. It's not their subject matter. So that comes from somewhere else. It does not come even from this material world, because this material world is our playground given to us by Krishna. and it has ability, and because we wanted to enjoy, the playground provide us means for enjoyment, facility for enjoyment according to our desire and according to our capacity. So indeed, this playground is where we can get some enjoyments if we follow certain rules and regulations. But those rules and regulations are not available in the world, they are available in scriptures. So this is where the role of scriptures become important in our life. The God has created this perfectly looking universe, perfectly functioning universe, such a beautiful world. So much aesthetic beauty is available in this world. So many perfectly designed systems are functioning in this world, and there is a seasons change accurately. The wind blow accurately. We can predict the movement of wind. We can predict the movement of high tide, low tide, the movement of oceans. We can predict very accurately. The sunrise and sunset time, moonrise, moonset time, we can predict accordingly, accurately today, and they all function according to our predictions. The weather change we can predict accordingly, accurately. The season change, the rain, we can measure rainfall, we can predict rainfall, we can the whole water cycle is so beautifully designed, so whole oxygen cycle is so wonderfully created. The whole nature is so beautiful. You see nature's pictures, go in picturesque view, go to jungles, go to mountains, go to lakes, go to ocean, you feel serene because you see so beautifully designed nature. And so much visit any garden, you will see beautifully designed flowers. Now there is a lot of brain work which has happened behind creation of this world, and it is giving us pleasure when we are there in the world outside. We feel happy, we get pleasure out of it. So the so if there is so so much created in this universe, in this world, with so much precision, so much accuracy, so much of thought behind it. Even a flower petal we discussed in the previous class, that it's such a beautiful creation that rose flower is, or lotus flower is, or any flower. Who puts fragrance inside a flower? Who puts fruit the juice inside a fruit? Who puts water inside a sweet water inside a coconut, which is so high in the and it's so wonderfully creation. Every creation is so wonderful. The coconut tree is beautiful, rose tree is beautiful, mango tree is beautiful. We'll be soon having mangoes in our homes. Now mango is there everywhere. In the soil there is mango, in the tree there is mango, in the branches there is mango, in the leaves there is mango. But it's available, it becomes available when it becomes a fruit, and that is made available to us, and it is so delicious, such a beautiful product that we get out of it. So there is a lot of thought which has gone behind creation of this world, and we know from scriptures that God has created this. So will God not give knowledge to use this world? So to use this facility, how to use this facility, will that knowledge not be available? It will be available, and it is available in form of scriptures, like Bhagavad Gita, that instruction manual given in the form of scriptures, which are revealed by God himself to his confidential devotees, who learn it, they personally practice it, and they teach it to the general public like us. And that is how we all benefit. We all come under the purview of scriptures, and we disconnect from the rest of the world, which is functioning on completely different mentality, with completely different value system. So we'll look at two verses which talks about this point, that it's the fifth chapter to 22nd and 23rd verse, very beautiful verses, which says that yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukha yonaya evate adya antavanta kaunteya na teshu ramate buddha. An intelligent person, the Buddha is an intelligent person, does not take part in the source of misery. What is the source of misery? Yehi samsparshaja bhoga. Any bhoga, any enjoyment which we wish to derive out of contact with the material senses and the sense object. Now that is impregnated, that desire itself is impregnated with misery, because the same source of pleasure will give you misery later. The senses with which we are trying to enjoy today, the same senses will become a source of misery. The same the hairs we might be wanting to enjoy, now the same hairs will become a source of misery when we will lose them. When we'll the eyes with which we are trying to see will eventually lose those. They'll become weaker, they will become will eventually, they become useless eventually. We may have desire to eat so many things, but eventually we may lose appetite, we may lose our digesting system, and then the desire might be there, but we will have no capacity, no ability to eat anything and digest, and hence there will be lot of misery. the So a person who is intelligent does not ramate buddha, does not delight in these things. And they also have adya anta vanta kanteya. They have beginning and they have an end. And hence the wise man does not delight in them. So what do wise men do? What wise men do is prescribed in the 23rd verse, that before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. So anybody who is trying to enjoy is going to be unhappy, because the lamentation, the misery is just waiting. If it is not already miserable, he will eventually become miserable. So having a desire to enjoy and acting on that desire to enjoy using our senses is source of misery. Eventually it becomes misery even during indulgences, because whatever little pleasure we get, they have a beginning and they have an end. And they sometimes we may not get it. Whenever we get it, it may not meet our expectation. uh, Even if it meets our expectation, it has a beginning and it has an end. Even if it appears to be endless, we have an end, and then beyond a point we also will not have capacity to enjoy. So either way, this desire will lead to misery, guaranteed. So what's the point in chasing these pleasures? That's the point that Krishna is making in this particular verse. So what's the point in then chasing these pleasures? So then what should you do? uh, you should try to tolerate the urges of material senses. Why tolerate? Because the material senses have acted in wrong ways in past. So therefore those senses have some defaults created within them. Whenever they see Sat, they will complete it as Saturday. They will assume that it means Saturday and you need to go out and enjoy. Now they don't know yet that you have started studying Bhagavad Gita, and Sat means Sat. It is means eternal. It means Satchit Ananda, one of the quality of the soul or Lord. And so that it doesn't yet understand. And hence it will keep giving you wrong pop-ups. Saturday, and you have to delete the rest of the spelling other than SAT. Keep SAT and delete the rest. That is manually have to be done. If just because the system has completed it as Saturday, you don't have to leave it like that. You have capacity to go there and delete the unwanted letters and again create that into Sat. So this is the tolerance. This is the this is the austerity that one has to perform. There are default desires that will pop up. there are default urges that will come, and you need to tolerate those urges with higher knowledge and better sense control. But you'll have to tolerate those urges and not act on those urges. The urge means urgently do something, urgently drink alcohol, urgently go out and smoke, urgently eat this. There is a jalebi which comes in front of you, eat it, even if it is say Ekadashi. Don't forget, कौन करता है एकादशी? It's meant for enjoyment. Life is meant for enjoyment. Forget Ekadashi. Eat. You're not doing anything illegal. You paid for it. You can, it's you're not even a diabetic. So why should you bother whether it is Ekadashi or not? You like jalebi, you eat jalebi. Now it's not, why wasting life in performing austerities? Why waste life in creating unnecessary rules and regulations for yourself? Why torture yourself by doing ekadashi and only eating sabudana and the fruits and water, whatever? But now that is how the world see, um, the world see our world, and this is how we should see the other world, the previous world. That this is what is the 5.22 is what is happening in the other world, and 5.23 is what devotees are trying to do in their world. That they are trying to tolerate the urges, because the urges will come. We are not yet fully purified. Eventually they will stop coming also, but the urges will come eventually, and eventually they will stop coming. By repeatedly saying no, they will stop coming. But today we might experience those urges being there, and we need to tolerate. If one is able to tolerate the urges and check the forces of desire and anger. Now, why desire and anger? Because desires, I may get desires to do wrong things also. I may have feelings for doing wrong things also. I may strongly feel I should do those things, and because they are wrong for me spiritually, in my spiritual progress, I'm tolerating those desires. I'm not acting on those desires, and naturally, when I don't act on my desire, I don't get the outcome, and I don't get the outcome, I that can give rise to anger. Sanjat sanjayate kamat, kamat krodho bhijayate. Krodh is natural outcome. Whenever our desires are suppressed, are declined by our mind, uh, it's as if there is a war going on inside our mind. There is a previous ourself. There is a previous image and there is a current image, and they are all fighting a war inside our mind. That the previous us is pushing those desires through. ये हमने किया था पहले, ये भी कर सकते थे, ये तो करते थे, ये तो कितना मजा आता था ये करने में, ये करते हैं. And current us decline those. No, नो, अभी ये नहीं कर सकते, आज एकादशी है, आज ये कर सकते हैं, ये तो करना ही नहीं है मुझे, ये तो जाना ही नहीं है, यहाँ पे तो बात ही नहीं करनी है मुझे. We keep saying no to things, and we keep getting proposals. So this war has to be fought by everyone, so that to in order to overcome our miseries and become happy in this world. So this war is mandatory for everyone. Everyone go through the process of taking up devotional service and becoming a devotee goes through this war. They fight this war inside us, and it whenever you think that abhi to मैं जीत गया, same very day the new challenge might pop up. So we have to be very careful and cautious with our mind and never let our guard down कि ये तो मैंने जीत लिया, ये तो कुछ नहीं होगा इसका. जिस दिन हम ये ऐसा सोचेंगे उसी दिन ऐसा कोई टेम्पटिंग सिचुएशंस आ जाएगा, और where we will also get bewildered कि ये करते हैं. We might actually feel like doing it, and if we are not cautious enough, we may actually indulge into wrong action, and might have a temporary fall down. Of course, we can keep coming back, and there is nothing. There's no permanent fall down. We can always come back. Wherever we get defeated by our mind, also next day you go and defeat them, and this is a ongoing war. And Tapa says the effort is the victory. Our effort to win itself is the victory. There's no absolute victory that we have to be worried of कि ये मैंने conquer कर दिया. This is not this is not a digital scenario, 0-1 scenario. This is an analog. This is continuously, it goes on, and that's how we cannot be 100% secured, but we can be. But our effort to win itself is our victory. Effort is required, constant endeavor is required. So we all have innate understanding that there is right and wrong course of action, and it has consequences, and we have capacity to choose. Our free will is real. It's not illusion, it's not fictitious. We actually, all of us have a free will, and at times, due to repeated indulgences, for alcoholic person, whenever they come in contact with alcohol, they may actually end up drinking it, and may not be able to control it, as it is described in the 23rd verse of 5th chapter, which we saw. But and that is because of the repeated indulgences. So sometimes making a choice can become difficult for us, but it is never impossible for us to reject alcohol. Just because an urge has come to smoke a cigarette, it it doesn't, it is not required for that smoker or that person to actually go out and smoke. It's as simple as, just because somebody come to our door knocking, I want to sell you this, I want to offer you this loan, I want to give you this investment opportunity. And if they are not genuine, we say no to them. And even if 100 such people come asking us to buy 100 products, we keep saying no to them, because we just don't need those products at this point of time. And it's not that more people come, we end up saying yes. At times it can happen, but in generally, if you don't want to invest where the money will get doubled, or you get a loan of very fancy interest rate when you don't need money, you will not be interested in those kind of attractive looking products. So you'll keep saying no. If you don't need a credit card, no matter 100 people call you asking you to take credit card, you will keep saying no to them. So so this is what we, at times it is difficult, but it is never impossible to say no. And depending on our state of mind, our purification, we have capacity to say no. Our capacity to discriminate and exercise right choice depends on our sadhana and our knowledge, of course. uh, and we will do good sadhana if we have good knowledge. So it's all linked. So we all have free will, and we have capacity to use our free will. There is a jurisdiction, there is a domain available, space available for us to exercise our free will always. Austerity simply means voluntarily, willingly giving up our enjoyments, and even though we may have desire and capacity to enjoy. Austerity on the Ekadashi day is giving up desire, not acting on desire to eat jalebi or anything that is non-Ekadashi food. Why? Because we want to have some higher purpose. There is some higher purpose. There is some higher knowledge with which we are acting. We are not acting whimsically. This is we are acting against a certain principles, against a certain goals that we want to achieve in our bhakti as well. So austerity will be done for that. It means voluntarily, willingly accepting and following rules and restrictions, rules, regulations, and restrictions. So we'll take a look at one beautiful verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's second canto, ninth chapter, sixth verse. Now Brahmaji, after creation, when Brahmaji was the first living being entity created by Lord Krishna himself, and he he was asked, he heard a voice, the two letters, two syllables he heard. And so I'll read the translation and the purport, and then we can discuss a little bit. So while thus engaged in thinking in the water, Brahmaji heard twice from nearby two syllables joined together. One of the syllable was taken from the 16th and the other from the 21st of the Sparsha alphabets, and both joined to become the wealth of the renounced order of life. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.6. The purport, Prabhupada writes, so when they are joined together, now these two syllables were ta, the 16th syllables was ta, and the 21st syllable from Sparsha alphabet was pa. Ta, pa. When you join them together, it becomes tapa. And tapa means penance. Penance, austerity. Penance and austerity are interchangeably at times used, or together they are used. Penance and austerity. The penance is constructed. This penance is the beauty and wealth of renounced order of life. Now, penance is beauty and wealth of brahmanas and renounced order of life. According to Bhagavata philosophy, every human being is meant simply for this tapa and for no other business, because by penance only can one realize his self, and self-realization, not sense gratification, is the business of human life. This tapa or penance was begun from the very beginning of the creation, and it was first adopted by the supreme spiritual master, Lord Brahma. Now, very important instruction, that we are expected to perform tapa, we are expected to perform penances and austerities in human form of life. There is no other business for us. Human being is meant simply for this tapa. The human form of life is meant simply for this tapa and no other business. Because what other business? What other business the world teaches us? World will teach us that the sense gratification, not the we are meant for self realization, not sense gratification. Now that is the goal of human life. That is the business of human life, and it has been done not by just by you, but it's been done from the beginning of the creation. When Brahmaji was born, this is what Lord advised him to do, and this is what Brahmaji did. A tapasya only can get one profit of human life, and not by polished civilization of animal life. The animal does not know anything except sense gratification in the jurisdiction of eat, drink, be merry and enjoy. But the human being is made to undergo tapasya for going back to Godhead, back home. When Lord Brahma was perplexed about how to construct the material manifestation in the universe, and went down within the water to find out the find out the means and the source of this lotus seed, he heard the word tapa vibrated twice. Taking the path of tapa is the second birth of desiring disciple. So many times Prabhupada has said this also, that anybody who starts reading my book, he's as good as being initiated. Because what is expected is, by reading Prabhupada books, which captures the nectar of all the Vedic Shastra in a crunch manner, in a small manner. By reading those books, one is expected to perform austerities and penances. One should reduce the desire for sense gratification and come to a human platform. A human life is meant for self-realization and going back to Godhead. Life is meant for doing this, and in order to do that, we need to counter our tendencies for sense gratification, our natural inclinations for enjoying like animals, like eating, mating, sleeping, defending. And if we are not able to fight with this tendency, then we will have no chance of self-realization, and we will not be able to practice bhakti. So we will not be able to go back to Krishna, and we will be perpetually captured in the repeated cycle of repeated birth in the same area domain of material knowledge, material world. So the again, the point made here is, life is meant for performing tapasya, performing austerities. Austerities simply means doing against your natural inclinations sometimes, because of the higher purpose. The higher purpose is going back to Krishna. And what are our natural instincts? Naturally, our instinct is to enjoy senses, using our senses in this material world. Sense enjoyment is our naturally, that comes very naturally to us, and sense gratification comes naturally to us. Sense gratification also comes naturally to animals. And so Prabhupada makes a parallel here, saying that animal doesn't know anything, but you are expected to learn the scriptures and alter your life. Now alteration of your lifestyle itself is going to be going to be an austerity. Giving up you meat eating is going to be an austerity. Giving up smoking and alcohol, tea, coffee is going to be an austerity. Giving up onion, garlic is going to be an austerity. Giving up eating food at places where meat is also cooked, that's going to be an austerity. Visiting temple every weekend regularly, going to be an austerity. Meeting devotees, talking to devotees, getting instructions from devotees, getting corrections from devotees is going to be an austerity. Fasting on Ekadashi day, going to be an austerity. Visiting Dham on Diwali day, going to be an austerity. Taking leave, utilizing all our leaves only for the purpose of going to yatras, is going to be an austerity. Earlier, we might have had done few foreign vacations and visiting, relatives, attending marriages, and doing so many other activities. But now we use, all our vacations for going to Dham, visiting Dham. Now that is going to be an austerity. So everything in devotional life, what we do, is going to be an austerity. Performing performing seva, giving charity is going to be an austerity. Because everything that is going to pinch us, it is not done by rest of the world, and the rest of the world doesn't promote it. They promote sense gratification. The Apple of this world doesn't teach this, that you restrict your senses. No, they teach you to indulge more in your senses. That's why they come up with a 1 lakh rupee phone, they 150 lakh rupee phone. They will come up with more and more phones, so that which gives you more and more facility for sense gratification. So for watch videos in a faster pace, watch videos, we take pictures without any disturbance. They do video recording, you doing your phone, do so many things. So Lakme of this world, the Hindustan lever of this world, will never teach you this information, will not give you this knowledge that perform austerities. They will ask you to indulge more into sense gratification. The the government of this world are not going to teach us how to perform austerities, because more we spend on sense gratification, more is the size of the economy, and more is profit to the government, or more is the tax that they will end up collecting. So they are not interested in you performing austerities. So the whole world is against the checking of our desires and not acting on every desires that we have. At the same time, world has now, with legal system, world does not want us to repeat what Nazis did or what a rapist can do. So there is some fear of law that world has created, but otherwise, by and large, the whole world perform on a philosophy that you should enjoy. You're meant for enjoyment. Your life is for enjoyment, and you can enjoy as long as you are fit enough to enjoy. Yeah. So the survival of the fittest is also welcome. So go ahead, kill chickens if you have capacity to kill them. If you have, go ahead, kill animals if you want to eat them. Now, so we have modified our worldview in such a way that promote both the survival of the fittest and under the enjoying principle with which the world can function. So whole world want you to work in one way, and scriptures want you to work in the opposite way. So so Prabhupada says very importantly that this is like taking second birth for a desiring disciple, because from that moment onwards, from this moment onwards, from the moment you are touched by Prabhupada book, from the moment you take journey home, or or any book, Perfect Question, Perfect Answer, Science of Soul, Science of Self-Realization, or Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Chatamrut, or Modern Problem, Vedic Principle, Vedic Solutions, Vedic Solutions for Modern Problems, or any Prabhupada book. The moment you touch that Prabhupada book and you start reading that book and you start understanding that book and you develop a desire to act on those instructions given by Prabhupada, this is like taking second birth. Second birth is what happens when a boy, Upanayan Sanskar it's called, and that is also known as second birth. The child is when son become 8-year-old, some traditions, then he's he's considered fit enough to be sent to Gurukul, to the Guru. And from in the Gurukul, he's supposed to learn. There's a Swadhyaya and austerity. These two things he should be performing. These two things, if we ask our children to perform, they will run away. And so, but this is what and this is that's why Upanayan Sanskar is known as good as second birth of our child. And child actually gets another name, and child is supposed to live with the Guru and do perform seva and perform a lot of austerities and learn from Guru. And this stage goes on till the age of 25, when he can consider getting married, starting grihastha ashram, or if he want to continue, he can continue in the grihastha, in the brahmacharya ashram, and take sannyas ultimately. but but this is called second birth, and for a desiring disciple. So any disciple, anybody who come in contact with Prabhupada book, Prabhupada says he's my disciple, he's as good as getting initiation from me. And when he start acting, when he start desiring for making changes in his life, and that is the time when it is as good as taking second birth. So very beautifully Prabhupada, right? So like Brahmaji, who heard voice of Lord directly, we may not hear Krishna's voice directly. Krishna may not come in our dream and tell us that perform austerities, stop sense gratification, stop going to bar, stop eating meat, stop eating even onion garlic, offer food to me. These are the instructions I've given in Bhagavad Gita. Start following those. Krishna may or may not come in our dream and tell us all this, or come in front of us and teach us, give us this teaching, just like he gave to Arjuna. But he has made those instructions, the same very instructions, available to us in the form of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And now it's up to us that we must accept these instructions. We must learn these instructions. We must follow these instructions in the scripture, given in the scriptures under the guidance of devotees. And if this is what scriptures are meant for, this is what the role of scripture is. The role of a scripture, role of a book like Bhagavad Gita, role of any Prabhupada book is to intervene in our life by connecting all our activities with Krishna. Change our life, change the course of our life. Our life before Krishna consciousness, our life after Krishna consciousness cannot be the same. And this is a primary difference in normal spirituality that is practiced in the rest of the world, and the one which is preached by Prabhupada. Prabhupada wants to interfere into our ongoing life of today. When we come to Krishna consciousness, and even if we are pious, we may consider ourselves as not sinful souls, non-sinful people. We are vegetarian eating people. We could be whatever we are, hopefully not very rajasic and very tamasic, but even if we are sattvic people, Prabhupada will still intervene into your life. Prabhupada will still wants Krishna to bring into your life. He wants every activity in your life to be connected, to be centered around Krishna, and he will place Krishna at the center, and then he will ask you to design all your activities around Krishna. And that will change our conception of enjoyment. That will force us to accept lot more austerities than what we did. So that will force us to do things differently. That will force us to give up many things that we consider that were dear to us in previous birth. Previous birth means before developing a desire to before developing a desire before becoming a desiring disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Whatever we had, now that we give up our association, we give up, as Nata Prabhu explained yesterday, we give up our chaddi friends also, with whom we did everything, who where we have no secrets with them, and we may end up giving those people also the association of those people also. We may end up giving association of our near and dear ones also, our close family members. If they are not interested in Krishna consciousness, we may continue living with them, but we stop taking association from them, which means we are uh, we are disassociating with them, which means we are we are not connecting with them. And that is how, now that is that all these actions require a lot of change in our life, bring a lot of change in our life, and that way our life will embark on a journey back to Krishna. 17.14, we'll look at three verses, 14, 15, 16 in the 17th chapter. So what is happening is Krishna is analyzing many qualities with reference to Sattva Guna, Rajogun, and Tamogun. These are the activities performed by people in faith. They are having faith in not in scriptures but otherwise. Now that can be faith in some guru, faith in some other scripture, faith in some um, faith in their own manufactured philosophy, faith in some non-authorized scriptures, that could also be there, or faith in nothing, could be atheist, and their own conceptions they have faith in. So for such people, what if how their activities are, and we've already discussed the activities that such a person perform, what how such persons perform worship. And in the previous session we also looked at how such people eat, what kind of food they eat, and what kind of sacrifices they perform. Today we will look at what kind of austerities they perform, and later the last section in this is what kind of charity these people perform. So the people are in three gunas, sattva guna, rajaguna, tamoguna. As far as austerities are also concerned, tapasya is also concerned. They can be in three gunas, where they can perform tapasya. And within three gunas also, Prabhupada talks about, Krishna talks about, elaborates, give more details that how austerity is performed using our body, using our word, speech, and using our mind. Austerity of mind is also elaborated. So Deva, Dvija, Dvija means Brahmana. Deva is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Guru, Pragya. Guru is Guru, and Pragya is any learned person. Pujanam, Shaucham, Arjavam. Brahmacharyam, Ahimsa cha, Shariram, Tapa Uchate. Austerity of the body consists of worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like father and mother. And in the cleanliness, now the Shaucham is cleanliness, simplicity, Arjavam is simplicity, and Brahmacharyam, celibacy, and non-violence. Non-violence is Ahimsa. Now, interestingly, Brahmacharya and is sense gratification, and krodha, kama krodha, basically the opposite of kama krodha is brahmacharya and ahimsa. Krodha leads to violence, and so opposite to that is non-violence, ahimsa. And kama is desire to indulge into the sexual activities, and general any anything seeking, desperately seeking anything, that is kama. And opposite to that is celibacy, brahmacharya, becoming detached from everything. So this is the austerity of body. Now body also has, so austerity can be performed using our body, using our speech, and using our mind. Now this at three level, we exist at these three levels, and the sannyasis carry a tribhanga danda, a, a Tridanda. Tridanda is because they are supposed to serve with their body, serve Lord with their body, mind, and words. And that's why these three things are considered to be extremely important. So this the same three things at which the analysis will be given by Krishna. In the verse, the first of it comes as to how to utilize our body in service of Krishna. Now, we have been given this body, and what kind of austerities that we need to perform using this body. What should we do using this body? First, he explains the austerities and penances practiced by the body. One should offer or learn to offer respect to God. Now, this is very important instruction. The Prabhupada writes in the purport that one should offer or learn to offer respect to God. Now, we read in Chaitanya Charitamrita that whenever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to go in front of Jagannath, he used to faint in ecstasy. He used to feel so much love for Krishna. He used to be in so much ecstasy that he used to experience by seeing Jagannath, that he used to faint and fall down unconscious. Now, when we go in front of Lord, none of us might get agitated by the love of Krishna. Might we may at times have tears in our eyes, and we may see when we see beautiful form of Lord, but unlikely that anyone gets so much overwhelmed by loving emotion, loving sentiment, so much intense love that one may feel about just by seeing taking darshan of Lord. When the curtains are removed, one just by seeing Lord, we don't really see people experiencing so much intense love that they fall down unconscious on the ground. That can happen. That can happen when we reach a stage of bhava and prema. And Mahaprabhu was in the prema stage of bhakti. And when he was trying to show how to practice bhakti, he showed the best possible way in which you can practice bhakti. That is prema bhakti. And that is what he's offering to all of us, that Krishna prema pradayate, that love of Godhead, which is so rare, he is distributing freely without checking and seeing any qualification or disqualification. So so if we cannot offer respect like this to God, we should still fall down. Now, if we don't have those intense emotions because of which we are falling down onto the ground, falling unconscious, or generally falling not able to stand on our feet and then this falling down, if that is not happening by intense emotions, we should learn to still offer similar respect by practice, by force. So which means we should learn to offer respect to God. And therefore, whenever we go in front of duty, we fall down. Now we fall down on our own, because there was to be a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. When everybody, Prabhupada used to come in front of everybody, all disciples of Srila Prabhupada, whenever they used to come in front of Prabhupada, they used to pay obeisances. They used to pay Dandavat obeisances, and then they used to talk about what they want to speak. And there was this one disciple who never used to pay obeisances, and Prabhupada actually inquired with him that why you are not paying obeisances. And he said, I don't feel like. Prabhupada said, you may not feel like, but you should still practice it. Eventually the feeling will come. So don't act only according to your feeling. If this is etiquette require you to pay obeisances, you should pay obeisances, whether you feel like doing it or whether you don't feel like doing it. And then that disciple of his he started obeying Srila Prabhupada and started paying obeisances whenever he would come in front of him. So Prabhupada gives a very important lesson here, that we should learn to offer respect to God. We may not have it naturally coming to us, but we should still learn, and we should offer respect to God, to the demigods, the perfect qualified brahmanas, and spiritual master, and the superiors like father and mother, or any other person who is conversant with Vedic knowledge. One should practice. Now, Prabhupada talks about shaucham, cleansing oneself externally and internally, and he should learn to become simple in behavior. Arjavam is simplicity. He should not do anything which is not sanctioned by the scriptural injunction. He should not indulge in sex outside of married life, for sex is sanctioned in the scriptures only in marriage, not otherwise. This is called celibacy. That is brahmacharya. And there are penances and austerities as far as body is concerned. These are the penances and austerities as far as body is concerned. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to learn to offer respect. We may not have naturally coming. So whenever we see Supreme, go in front of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahmana, Brahmanas or Vaishnavas, spiritual master or superiors like father and mother, we should pay obeisances. Now, we may not always feel like doing it, but we should nevertheless do it, irrespective of our feeling. Then, the cleanliness, the body is meant to be kept clean. Body is not to be misused. So, body is not to be misused for doing wrong things. And then, one should arzavam, there should be simplicity in behavior. If you like simple living and high thinking, if you have complex living, if you have complex living, then you you have no time to think basically. High thinking, your whole time goes in arranging for your maintaining whatever that you have created for yourself. So simple living is required for high thinking. Generally people practice the opposite. They hardly live then and they hardly think. But the scripture request us, our scriptures require us to practice simple living and high thinking. And this is the arzavam, that is the simplicity that is required to be practiced. The sex outside married life is not permitted. Celibacy means sex only sanctioned in the marriage, not otherwise. This is called celibacy. And then the penance. So this is the austerities of the body. So what does austerities? What austerities we generally perform with our bodies before getting this knowledge, and and getting this knowledge from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. We go to gym, we perform all kind of austerities to maintain our body, keep it good looking, enhance the beauty of our body by applying a lot of cosmetic, visiting a lot of parlors, make it look bigger in size and attractive in size. So by joining gym, use your body as a garbage house by putting in all kind of food stuff, whatever that you see on the street or in the hotels, and which could be in any guna, tamoguna, rajoguna, or even sattva guna, but eat indiscriminately all kind of food stuff, and which ultimately leads to the cause of misery, because you will fall sick, you will develop some sicknesses, and so on and so forth. So all before this knowledge, only what we were doing, we can imagine, look back and imagine, only was nonsensical things, which were just waiting, where the disaster was just waiting to arrive. And anytime it could arrive, anytime, and hence by restricting ourselves, by changing our behavior, by changing our value system, by changing our priorities, we started performing austerities. We voluntarily, willingly accepted things, brought changes into our life, and put some restrictions onto our behavior, our indulgences, and thereby purified our existence, purify ourselves at the bodily level. And now we will see how we can purify ourselves at by speaking. अनुद्वेग कारम वाक्यम सत्यम प्रिय हितम यचयत स्वाध्याय अभ्यासनम चैव वाङ्मय tapa uchyate. That austerity of speech consists of speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. So a very important means is how one should speak, in the how we should use this faculty of speech in while conducting our oneself in this world. That it should consist of speaking words which are truthful, pleasing to the ears, pleasing, not harsh, beneficial, truthful and beneficial, very important, and not agitating to others. And this is how one should speak. Now, it does not, the austerity of speech, when while qualities of speech are being described here, Krishna doesn't speak about which language is better to speak in, the fluency with which you speak, the presentation, in nice presentation that you give, grammatically how correct you should be. He doesn't talk about all these things. He's speaking something completely different. What is generally considered to be good qualities in good of a good speaker are not what are captured by Krishna at all. Krishna is speaking about being truthful, being pleasing to the ears. Now, being beneficial. Now, pleasing and beneficial, they can be, there can be a conflict between the two. like uh, like Vidura spoke very spoke very harsh words in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam with Dhritarashtra, because he wanted to finally fully cut down his attachments to living in the palace and go retire, go to the go to the forest and live like a retired life. Don't give up this palatial kingdom, give up these palatial facilities. And he's been doing it for many years. All throughout his life, he's been a very intimate relationship he has had with Dhritarashtra, being his brother. But towards the end, he speaks in very harsh words, which had effect on Dhritarashtra, and then he finally leaves home without even informing Gandhari, without even informing Yudhishthir about it, and Sanjay about it. Of course, the who was his Sarthi. So this is beneficial. Not everything that is beneficial can be pleasing, but we should be pleasing. We should be truthful, I'll say. And whatever is pleasing is not truthful. So, for example, if a person is suffering from diabetic, high sugar, and if doctor want to be pleasing to the person and not, he can opt to say that there is nothing wrong, please go on with your current lifestyle, and then that can be pleasing to the ear but non-beneficial for the patient, and of course it is not truthful. So one has to balance all these things and not agitating to the others. So all these things are balanced, and so it's, the speaking is difficult. If you have to balance all this and speak every time, and Prabhupada also, Krishna also says that reciting Vedic literature is also austerity of speech. You should utilize your speaking faculty for doing these activities. One should not speak in such a way as to agitate the mind of others. Of course, when a teacher speaks, he can speak the truth for the instruction of his student, but such a teacher should not speak to those who are not his students, and as if he will agitate, if he were to agitate their minds. This is penance as far as talking is concerned. Besides that, one should not talk nonsense. The process of speaking in spiritual circle is to say something upheld by the scriptures. One should at once quote from a scriptural authority to back up what he is saying. At the same time, such talk should be very pleasurable to the ears. By such discussion, one may derive the highest benefit and elevate human society. There is a limitless talk of Vedic literature, and one should study this. This is called penance of speech. Very beautiful purport Prabhupada has been giving. And last is penance of our body. We'll have some time. So, manah prasada saumyatvam, maunam atma vinigraha, bhava samshuddhi, bhava samshuddhir tyetap- tyetatapo tyetatapo manassama uchyate. Tapo manassama uchyate. And the satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of mind. What are the austerities? Satisfaction, mana prasada, saumyatva, simplicity, gravity, maunam, self-control, purification of one's existence are the austerities of mind. Prabhupada has often said one sentence, and that chant and be happy. Now, now this can be this is sounds like a one instruction: chant and be happy. That if you chant, you will be happy, and that's true. But there can be two instructions in this one instructions as well. That chant and be happy. Be happy is also a separate instruction. So one can see it as two instructions in one instruction, or in totality three instructions: that chant and be happy, and chant nevertheless even if you are not feeling happy, and be happy. So there could be three instructions hidden in one simple sentence: that chant and be happy. And why it is so? Because happiness is to be chosen. Yesterday, we saw that yeah, 10.88.8, the purport, where where Krishna is describing that how his devotees feel about the reversals that comes into their life. That Krishna says, if I become very favorable, I only bring more and more reversals into one's life, so that their attachment to me increases, their dependence on me increases, and they come more and more closer to me. Their priorities changes. Their attachments changes. They get more attached to me, and by this their attachment to the material world reduces, their attraction for material world reduces. Now this way I can sometimes speed up somebody's journey for coming back to Krishna, back to me. And so if a devotee understand that everything happening in his life, whether good, bad, or ugly, is happening due to the sanction of Krishna, he never laments. He take it as a will of Krishna and he accepts it. He mitigates to the extent he can, but otherwise he tolerates it. So which means there is no lamentation for devotee, and the devotee can be always happy in every situation, every condition, no matter from material eyes how grave that situation might appear, how bad that situation might appear. But a devotee is always happy because he understands that nothing can happen without Krishna's sanction. And if Krishna has sanctioned this particular situation upon me, he has a purpose behind it, which I might not be aware. So it could be for my purification, it could be for me to learn something out of it, or it could be for me to show my determination to render service despite of all the difficult situations that are present in front of me. So it could be any of these situations. So my job is not to question Krishna. My job is to continue render devotional service to him without any interruption, in to whatever condition I am in, to whatever facilities I have, whatever, to the best of my capacity, best of the available facility, I will continue to serve Krishna. So this is the approach with which a devotee progress or function in the material world. And therefore a devotee can always choose to be happy. Mana prasada means a devotee has being happy is ultimately a choice as well, that you have to make. You can't make happiness conditional to air condition being switched on, and nice plate of prasad being kept in front of me, and after that I can go and sleep for 5 hours, 3-4 hours in the afternoon, and then again all kind of no, that is not what will bring. That is not a, it is not a conditional happiness. That if all these things are, if my 1, 2, 3, 4 conditions are satisfied, then I am satisfied. Krishna says you have to become satisfied in whatever condition you are in. And satisfaction is a choice. Unsatisfaction is a natural tendency that our mind gravitates towards. But uh, you have to lift your mind and choose satisfaction. You have to become satisfied. Now that is a austerity that one has to perform with the help of our mind. This is austerity for mind. How can there be austerity for mind? This is austerity for mind. If you force your mind to feel happy in every situation, it will be an austerity. It's not natural. Naturally mind wants to feel disgusted, mind wants to feel unhappy. But unnaturally, or by practice, by training, you will train your mind to become happy, to feel happy in all situations. That is that is the austerity of mind, and that is mana prasada. To make mind austere is to detach it from sense gratification. Prabhat hit the nail on its head. To make mind austere is to detach it from sense gratification. It should be trained that it can be always thinking of doing good for others. The best training for the mind is gravity in thought. One should not deviate from Krishna consciousness, and one must always avoid sense gratification. To purify one's nature is to become Krishna conscious. Satisfaction of the mind can be obtained by only by taking the mind away from thoughts of sense enjoyment. Satisfaction of mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from the thoughts of sense enjoyment. It's very important. And again, sense enjoyment linked to 5.21, 5.22 and 5.23. Yehi samsparja bhoga. And the second one, that what should one do? And unnecessary, the more we think of sense enjoyment, the more the mind becomes dissatisfied. In the present age, we unnecessarily engage the mind in so many different ways for sense gratification, and so there is no possibility of mind becoming satisfied. सो अब जो भी कर लो, जब तक ये टेंडेंसी नहीं जाती, जब तक ये डिजायर नहीं जाता, that we'll become happy by enjoying with our senses. Unless this conception does not change and we don't become convinced that we are actually meant for, our lives are meant for austerity, not for sense enjoyment, and we have to stop indulging into sense enjoyment to the extent possible, and to the or we should connect with remain engaged in sense enjoyment only to the extent it is bare necessary for us, for our survival. So it's not that we should stop eating, but we should eat prasad. We should eat first food offered to Krishna, and not eat anything and everything that seems to be pleasing to our eyes and tongue and our mind. So we have to perform austerities. When we perform austerities, we figure out, we realize is that that what all wrong that we were doing, and accordingly then we can figure out what right we should do. And for that, the scripture and the devotee guidance becomes extremely helpful. So more we think of sense enjoyment, more disturbed our mind can become, and more dissatisfied it will be. And the present age, we engage our mind in so many activities, so many ways of different ways for sense gratification. We have so many plans to do sense gratification in so many different ways, and then hence, because Prabhupada writes that there is no possibility of mind becoming satisfied, mind becoming content. which is full of stories. Now the Puranas, the scripture, Prabhupada talks about Puranas, that Puranas are full of stories, scriptures are full of stories, as in Puranas and in Mahabharata. Yeah. Now these scriptures, one should take advantage of this knowledge. Knowledge comes from the scriptures, which is full of satisfying stories, as in the Puranas and in the Mahabharata. Scriptures has, even Mahabharata, the Bhagavatam has many stories. Bhagavatam has a lot of instructions, also has also a lot of stories. Bhagavad Gita principally has a lot of instructions. All the principles are defined in Bhagavad Gita. All the examples are given in Srimad Bhagavatam. And there are other Puranas like Mahabharata, Ramayana, where in the form of a story, a lot of teachings are given by looking at those are all histories captured as stories, not fictitious stories just to give some lessons of morality, but these are real life people who lived in those ages, and their lives are captured by way of their charitra, and which is available to all of us to read and then to make sense of the various actions performed by different people, different characters in those stories, so that we can learn and we can get benefited. We can alter our lifestyle accordingly to not repeat their mistakes and to do what good things that they did, so that they went closer to Krishna, how they went closer to Krishna. Now one can take advantage of this knowledge and thus become purified. Purified means reducing our desires for sense enjoyment, sense gratification, increasing our attachment to Krishna. That is the purification part of it. Silence means that one is always thinking of one's self-realization. The person in Krishna consciousness observe perfect silence in this sense. Control of the mind means detaching the mind from sense enjoyment. One should be straightforward in his dealings and thereby purify his existence. All these qualities together constitute austerity and the mental activities. We'll summarize. We started by looking at what is the general worldview that is there, and the whole world today live with the conception that enjoyment is the primary goal of their life. They made enjoyment, sense enjoyment being the primary goal. They eat what you want, go where you want to go, do what you want, learn what you want, as long as, and they've created some earlier times there were no boundaries, but countries have created some legal boundaries. Within that framework, you are still allowed to practice a lot of things which are against, even which are against, which could be permitted by law, but which are against Vedic injunctions, which are against scriptures, which are against laws of nature, which are against laws of Krishna. And hence human life is, the whole world gives a different type of teaching. Scriptures, Bhagavad Gita teaches something completely opposite. Human life is meant for performing penances and austerities and not for sense enjoyment. This is what is taught in the which is taught in the general, the rest of the world, but scriptures tell you the opposite. The opposite is true. It is meant for performing penances and austerities. Scriptures provide this knowledge and also give process of practicing bhakti yoga, by which we can change our default impulses. Now, since we operate in the same world, which has different drivers, as we may say, uh, we also tend to acquire those into us, and because of before we come to Krishna consciousness also, and in general by associating with non-devotees also, we learn these qualities from them. We can get infected by their infections. They're infected, their infection is they only want to enjoy in the world, and the survival of the fittest, that's again worst. So their infection can affect us, and we can we can get infected by, if by too much association with them, we can get infected by them. So scripture provide knowledge and also give process of practicing bhakti yoga which can cure us of such infections and help us change our default impulses, default feelings, to the Krishna conscious feelings. Krishna mercifully also sent devotees in the material world who teaches this knowledge and also demonstrate it by personal practicing it. They not only Prabhupada not only practiced, they not only preaching, he was not just a preacher, he was a practitioner also, and therefore his teachings carry value. That his teachings carry meaning. He's not just doing a lip service, but he also lived his life according to those same instructions, and therefore his speech commanded a lot of value. His speech was pure, and it affected people's life. Thousands and thousands of people who heard him speak, it affected them, and it helped them, brought changes into their respective lifestyles. Even though some of us have never met Prabhupada, but by simply hearing his voice, simply hearing his lectures today also, we can feel that need for us to change the way we live. And as I said, we need not be living a very horrible life, we might be living a sattvic life, but we can change even sattva to devotion, and thereby, improve our purify our existence by bringing Krishna into our practice. So we should now convince ourselves, train our mind to sincerely follow all instructions of scriptures as explained by devotees, and start our journey of going back to Krishna. We'll have to modify all our actions by bringing Krishna at the center of all our activities. And that is what scriptures will tell us to do. That is what devotees will advise us how to do. And that is what we should all do, so that we can remember Krishna throughout our life and also at the end of our life, and thereby going back to Krishna. That will facilitate for us to go back to Krishna. The facility for hearing and chanting, which will facilitate remembrance of Krishna, constant remembrance of Krishna, is we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the morning. We meet on Zoom and we read from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam at 8:30 p.m. All of you are welcome, requested to join every day these sessions and take maximum advantage of this facility. So we'll pause for any question and answer that anyone might have. So I'll go to the chat box. Yeah, I'll just see if we have any hand raise. Yes, Vikas Prabhuji, you have hand raise.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for the elaborate meaning you have given for the austerity. And we often talk about that we should perform austerity, but this is like though Krishna has spoken and Srila Prabhupada has given, and that is why it is always emphasized upon that the devotion, that association of devotee is important, because how the teachings of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada that can come handy in our practical life, and how we can implement that in our practical life is as per the instructions of the devotees, that how they perceive, because they are already practicing it. And as you mentioned the example of Srila Prabhupada, that actually Srila Prabhupada used to practice it before preaching, and it is what I mean, how I perceive that the senior devotees, how they are practicing it, and then the impact of their words that become more and more practical. So it is like the words fall short actually to praise the efforts of devotees, that how they are just trying to make the wholehearted endeavors to make the other people like me. Hare Krishna, bro. So they are making the other people like me also to get very firmly fixed in the devotional service of Lord Krishna, to whatever extent I may be, or rather I have just started it, or maybe that the start of that is even yet to come. But that is the mercy of the devotees like you, Narottam Prabhuji, and many other devotees who are giving some kind of preaching or instructions, and that comes very handy in devotional life, and that makes us feel that this is the actually need of the hour and this to be done. And you are not only just giving instruction, but rather you are also providing the platform to just practice those devotional services. Like every Sunday, you are from your so much busy schedule, you are just going on and on and on. And even if we are asking questions, you are not just watching at the clock that it is around 1:30 or 2. So the great austerity actually you are also doing on your part, despite having so many spiritual duties, materialistic duties, your household duties, and despite that you are removing so much time. So thank you very much. And yesterday I couldn't actually mention, I was about to mention in Japa talk that you asked the question to Narottam Prabhuji that if someone is in the miserable condition, as Prabhuji was saying that 1088 Srila Prabhupada used to take the shelter of that particular verse. And you asked that beautifully, that if someone is in that situation, what should be done? And though I was contemplating on them, that you always tell us that it is the diligence and dependence. And Prabhuji also answered in the almost rather on the same tune by using different words. But and I was thinking that you are also working for us as Arjuna worked for the whole lot of population who is in the world. That he was though knowing that Krishna is supreme personality of God, and all the kind of questions he was knowing, the answer to all the kind of questions. But to facilitate us that in the people of Kali, my kind of people will also be coming who won't be understanding it. So he made it very simpler, and so you are doing that part also on our part, on our behalf, because our intelligence, my intelligence at least, does not reach to that point that it can ask such deep questions. So thank you very much. I don't find any beautiful words to praise the efforts of yours, which can which can be befitting. So just I will offer my humble obeisances to you. Humble obeisance to you, Prabhuji, for whatever kind of effort you are taking to transform our heart. Otherwise, it is kind of stone which cannot be transformed by any effort of our alone. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
So, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, is all credit to our senior devotees and all credit to Sri Prabhupada. So, we just continue to repeat what they have said and they have written. So there's a wonderful question on by Dwarkant Prabhuji in the chat box that about the second question that should bad things happen to good people. Now we briefly touched upon it, but we didn't very fully elaborated on it. Now when we said about Nazis who are getting killed like this, like just like worse than animals, this if you Google on the images, picture library that how Nazis killed Jews, and then you will see actual pictures of human dead bodies, mountain of human dead bodies, a small hill of human dead body. There were male, female, children, and just because they were Jews, they were being killed in such a brutal way. No, none of. I mean, this kind of a thing has not happened. It's very in the whatever our history that we remember. This is the ghastliest thing that probably might have happened. And then, of course, the bombing of Japan was another, has its own consequences. But now those people who are getting slaughtered like this, just like even mosquitoes are killed with a lot of respect, but worse than even insects. Were they all good people? What was happening with them? And now, if you apply the theory of the modern world, they were weak. 7 lakh people got killed. Now, those 7 lakh people were weak in their mind and in their conduct. So they couldn't protest against the Nazi rule. They couldn't, and therefore, as per the rule of the world, survival of the fittest philosophy, they were supposed to get slaughtered. There's nothing wrong in they being slaughtered by the Nazis. That's how Nazis justified their action. That's how we that's how the modern world act. They act without trace of morality, and this innate feeling that good things should happen to good people only, and bad things should not happen to good people, comes from the innate learning that soul has from the spiritual world. The soul is the foreign element in the material world. The spiritual spark doesn't belong to the material world. There is nothing that the soul can nothing is compatible with the spiritual spark. Soul uses one body, gives it up, and takes up another body and gives up that also, and keep changing body. It does not find a body which in which it can which is most compatible with it, because matter is not compatible with soul. Just like tree, jungle is not compatible with a fish. Fish is compatible with only in water. So fish needs water. Fish doesn't need a beautiful palace, which is where there is no water. So so the soul is non-compatible with everything that this material world present us, and that's why the soul always remains unhappy. Soul always keep desiring, and it always remains unhappy, and because it desire, it acts. And so law of karma tell us that the good people, bad people, the world is dukhalayam shashvatam, and whatever happen against my desire will give me will give me will bring unhappiness to me. So if I have a desire to remain young forever, uh, becoming old will bring uncomfort to me, the unsatisfaction to me, will the misery to me. So I'm always bound about to get miserable. I may accept it, but I do not want it. I do not want to fall sick. I don't want to have my hairs. I don't want to lose my hairs. I don't want my hairs to become gray. I don't want to. I always want to have a very healthy body, so that so that I can enjoy the world. So the underlying assumption in the world is that world is meant for enjoyment, life is meant for enjoyment. And with this, anybody who approaches the world is bound to get misery and get feel miserable, because these his plans for enjoyment in this world are bound to get defeated. If it is not, one is successful today, tomorrow they will be defeated, or day after tomorrow they will definitely be defeated, or even he may continue to enjoy throughout his life. At the end of his life will end, and again his plans will get defeated, and he'll have to acquire another body and continue from where he left off. So in all, uh, the bad experiences, the bad will happen. Well, bad means something will happen against my desire, against my natural instinct, against my wish, and it is just about to happen. It's only a matter of time. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when it will happen. So one should perform austerities. One should train our mind and to perform these three austerities with body, with mind, and with speech. And if we can perform these three austerities, we can live happily in the world. So the word, the translation of the 5.23 verse which we discuss, that one has to tolerate the urges of our senses and desires. And anybody who can tolerate it, not tolerating those urges, also means austerity, austerity of mind, and then austerity of body, because you're preventing your body from getting into those indulgences which are where the urge takes you. And when you can do that provided you have scriptural knowledge, you have devotee guidance, and by which only you can tolerate these urges, and such nara can be happy. Only such person can be happy, can remain happy in this material world. He's happy not because he's getting facility for enjoyment, special facilities for enjoyment. He's happy because he has given up the desire to enjoy the material world, and then with that only he can focus on bhakti. Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya apaharata chetasam vyavasayit makabuddhi samadhona vidhyate. So bhoga and aishwarya, unless we give up our attachment to these two things, our bhakti cannot even begin. What to speak of completing it in one lifetime. Our bhakti cannot start also. So that's a so that is the key. The again, the 5.23 also tells the same message in a different words, that unless we give up on our attachment, uh, we have no chance of becoming happy. And becoming happy means getting attached to Krishna, by which we become happy. So hope, Prabhuji, was that answered your question about the second question which I posed in my poll. One more question. Yeah. How can, Prabhuji, how can performing austerities contribute to the growth of the economy? Kindly explain. Performing austerities contribute to the growth of the economy. Why should economy grow? Why should economy grow? Why there is a need to grow to economy? Everybody should get food. Everybody should get what they need. And if they perform, if they remain happy in that, their greed to get more will get eliminated. That will get replaced by devotional service, by focus on Krishna, by they focusing on Krishna. eventually they will all go back to Krishna. And what is the use of economy, a thriving economy where everyone is living life of that an animal? Why should there be a worry of us? What is the economics for God? Dogs. What is the economics for hogs? What is the what is the economics for mosquitoes? Now, we are all living life like dogs and hogs and cats. So what kind of economy? Our economy will only keep us entangled in this world, or we need to learn to be happy with what we have. uh, if you get more, does it mean one should give up whatever one has? No, but one should remove one's attachments to what one have, and bring Krishna at the center. Change your attachment from the things of the material world to Krishna. And then if Krishna willing, he will give you opulence and you will still not be attached to it. Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, when he was performing austerity, original plan was to ask for a kingdom bigger than his father. Now his father didn't allow him to sit on his lap, and then mother insulted him, saying that if you want to sit on the lap of your father, you should have taken birth from my womb. And if because you're not done that, you don't have any right. And he felt insulted now, and this is what he wanted to ask when he met Vishnu in 6 months of performing austerity face to face. When he met Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, but then he said, "What is the use? I don't want it now." And he says, there were diamonds, and I was asking for stones, or asking for broken glasses. Pieces of broken glasses is what I was thinking of asking you, but I don't want it. But Krishna gave him the kingdom, and he ruled for thousands of years. Lord Ram ruled for thousands of years. Yudhishthir Maharaj ruled for thousands of years before they gave up their. Prahlad Maharaj ruled for thousands of years. So they were given opulence. When they ruled their kingdoms, they were living in palaces, but they were not attached to those things, to those opulences. They didn't. It's not that they didn't had the opulence; they were not attached to the opulence, and that is the change of consciousness that we need to bring in. That will free us from the so-called miserable conditions which we otherwise experience in the material world. Hope, Mataji, that answer your questions. There's one more question from Dwarkanath Roji. Treatment: if one does not practice austerities, has to one has to face bad things, and he deserves it. Even by practicing austerities, those bad things will stop mattering. It's like raising one's consciousness. Now when consciousness is raised, when for example, there's a fire and you're lifted by a helicopter above the uh, above the area where the fire was. Now your consciousness is lifted. Now the fire may still be there, but it will not matter to you. It doesn't matter to you because you're not feeling the hurt by the fire. So the problems will still be there, but since you're conscious, your attachments are changed from the possessions of material world to Krishna. They will stop hurting you the way they would otherwise hurt you. And so that is what it means by for that to change that consciousness, we need to perform austerity. Otherwise we are attached to those sensual things, our material possessions, which provide us facility for those sensual enjoyments. And those attachments, those desires for enjoyments, those are the binding forces which gives us ultimately misery. Because whatever we might be attached to in the material world, whatever we might be trying to draw pleasure from the material world, will eventually go. Adya Anta Vanta Kanteya. It has a beginning and it also has end. And when it ends, it gives us misery. So as long as our attachment is with this matter, with the things of this material world, which includes people in the material world, which includes possessions in the material world, which includes prestige in the material world, which includes education of this material world, which includes opulence that we earn in this material world, kirti or whatever we have in this material world, as long as we have we are attachment to these things, uh, we will continue to experience misery, because these things eventually will go. Even if these things remains, we will go. And again, by leaving those things, we will feel the misery. So the best thing Krishna advises is to change your object of your attachment from matter to spirit. And Krishna is that spiritual reality. Krishna is that spiritual object that we all should try and get attached to. Prabhupada says it may not happen to you naturally, then train your mind to develop that attachment towards Krishna, and by that you will eventually learn to be attached to Krishna. And when you are attached to Krishna, you will love Krishna. Then these things coming and going will not matter much. If they are there, you will consider it as mercy of Krishna. When they are taken away from you, you consider that also to be the desire of Krishna. And then you will carry on. You will carry on with whatever you have. Therefore, it will not matter to us. Okay, then thanks, Mataji. Yeah. So, Dwarkan Prabhuji, hope that answers your question. If you have further doubt, you can unmute and you can speak. Or meanwhile, we'll go to Swapnil Prabhuji, who is raised hand.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, when you explained that that there are chances that we may get lost in this materialistic world for any reason, it may be good or bad, but there's always a ray of hope at the end of the tunnel. So we can always see that ray of hope and we can come back. So that is very that's very soothing, and thank you very much for that direction, because we all tend to get, speaking about myself, that you may get lost, and but there's always a return hope, or hope to return back. Prabhuji, my second question, I think it has been answered when you said that performing austerities, still there will be miseries, but performing austerities and doing bhakti regularly would be better. So that, thank you very much. My personal question, Prabhuji, is that somehow from the beginning, I've been doing puja of Bajrang Bali, and somehow I have developed a faith that whenever I'm in trouble, I always chant Hanuman Chalisa, and somehow that faith has become stronger over the days, that I feel that it gives me immense strength, and my immediate worries are goes out. So uh, Hanuman was the greatest brahmachari, and Lord Rama's bhakt, and Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, they are uh, forms of Vishnu. So i- is it is it okay that I regularly chant along with my Mahamantra also uh, Hanuman Chalisa, Prabhuji? That was my
Yeah.
personal question, Prabhuji.
So Krishna is the original form. Vishnu is his expansion, and Ram is his closest avatar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Ram, Lord Narsimha are they're as good as Purna avatars, and Vishnu at least comes 6 levels down Krishna. So Vishnu comes for the functional form. Vishnu is a functional form. Vishnu comes for creation. The Karnadakshay Vishnu lies in the material ocean. Then the universes he creates from the pore of his body, and he enters into each universe, becomes Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and then Karnadakshay Vishnu finally. So Vishnu is functional form of Krishna, and most of the incarnations comes in the material world are incarnations taken by Vishnu, and so in the tattva they are same. It's like when you are at home, serving your father, your mother, or you're taking care of your family. You are same person when you go to office and deal on the project, work on the project with your client. But rasa is different. In office with colleagues, there is a different rasa in which you function, and at home with children, with parents, with wife, so the rasa is different. The rasa experienced by that particular deity, or by the by is rasa, that is different. And but the tattva is same, the person is same, the you are the same you who goes to office and come back. So we don't differentiate Vishnu as lower and Krishna as higher, because by in tattva they are the same, but in the rasa, this is there are far limited rasas that are present when you go to office. You can't demonstrate all emotions, all range of emotions in office, which you can at home. In home you will be at your best, and you will demonstrate all kind of rasas with your family members, with your children. You will be demonstrate showing Vatsala rasa with your wife, and with different rasa with your parent, different rasa with your brother, sister, different rasa, and so on and so forth. So that's the first distinction. And so the Krishna is the original form, and Vishnu is the expansion, sixth expansion, and Lord Ram has been his closest expansion, almost complete expansion. So that's why Ram and Krishna are considered to be almost same, but Krishna is still original deity, original form. Hanuman is a sevak. Hanuman is a servant of Lord Ram, and is so Hanuman's consciousness is on how best I can serve Lord Ram, and how Hanuman is focus, that is his sole focus of his life, is to serve Lord Ram. He's the best servant of Lord Ram. When you are glorifying Hanuman for his service to Lord Ram, Hanuman will feel happy. But when you want Hanuman to come and help you, he will, then that will create disturbance in service to Lord Ram. So we should, it is best always to go to the original object of service. That's Hanuman's object of service is Lord Ram. So you should also, he will be far more happier if you start taking shelter of Lord Ram, just like he himself has done, rather than creating another project where he has to be available to you to take care of your worries, and he will be deprived of rendering service to Lord Ram during that time. So that will create another chain which he may not, that's not his mood. Is his mood is to serve Lord Ram. It's like I stay from Thane to Parla and Parla to Juhu. If I'm going to Juhu, what is the point of you coming to my home when I'm only anyway going to go to Juhu? So we might as well both of us go to Juhu and we pray to Radha Rasbalaji or Lord Ramchandra there. So like that, this is like crude example, but I'm saying it is always better to direct our consciousness to Lord Ram, and so that will be pleasing for Lord Hanuman also. Now there's nothing wrong if one appreciate what Hanuman has done for Lord Ram. One becomes very one wants to have a service attitude like Hanuman to Lord. But when you try to become servant of Hanuman, now that is not what Hanuman might be wanting, because then taking care of your own things will create a disturbance from his devotional service towards Lord Ram. So he will be happier if you become devotee of Lord Ram directly. That is what Guru does. Now, people might be inspired by gurus and may get attached to devotees, a guru, or even devotees for that matter. When we speak with devotees, we try and help them, offer them solutions to their personal problems, to their material problems, to their spiritual problems. We guide them with various things, and at times it so happens that devotee get actually attached to this guiding devotee who is helping him get his devotional service started. Now, objective of this devotee is, this is his service. What is his objective? His objective is to connect everyone with Krishna, so that ultimately then he can go to somebody else. Now if one devotee, if you as a new devotee get only attached to your guiding devotee, that when you go to temple I will come to temple, otherwise I will not come to temple. When you ask me to join, only there's those days I will join the classes, otherwise I will not join the classes. What is happening here is you are getting attached to the devotee rather than getting attached to Krishna. Now devotee, as a guiding devotee, as a patha pradarshak guru, this is not what I will want, this is not what anybody will want. They all want, or everybody wants you to ultimately get connected with Krishna. For that to happen, whatever initial push is required, that is provided by these guiding devotees. Nothing much, nothing more. Ultimately you should be getting attached to Krishna. That is what is going to save you. And then once you do that, we can, this devotee can move to some other devotee and start working on them. And once you get attached to Krishna, you become fixed in devotional service. You don't do devotional service conditional, that if you are there I will come, if you are there on yatra I will come for yatra, if you are there in temple I will visit temple. You do it for Krishna. Then, and once you start doing it for Krishna's pleasure, now you are started driving on your own, you have started flying your own aeroplane. And then you still need guidance, you still need there can still be doubts, there can still be a help that you might require at every stage, that will be there. But but then that interventions, point of interventions will be much lesser or very few. And you can then, if you cultivate nice sadhana, if you develop nice faith, nice association, then your vehicle on the path of bhakti, on the highway of bhakti, can move much faster, much easily, and your journey can becomes much more better. But if you remain attached to the devotee only who is guiding you, then that becomes very troubling journey. You get the example, or you still have doubt?
Prabhuji, thank you very much. Probably it makes sense what you have told me, but somewhere I will have to now see where my heart goes. My heart is always there with Krishna, but at the same time, somewhere uh, deep rooted this faith is about because I was introduced to this uh, much longer before, and that has deep rooted somehow. uh, I always think, first thing what comes into mind is whenever I am in dilemma or something is about chanting Hanuman Chalisa. Almost it comes spontaneously. So anyway, thank you very much for this clarification. Probably I will remember to uh, remember both at a time, and Krishna is always in my heart. So yes, thank you, Prabhuji, for your
So again,
clarification. Thank you very much.
so Prabhuji, speak only about chanting Hanuman Chalisa. There is nothing wrong in that. So you should remember Hanuman in the proper mood. That's the only point. You should not remember Hanuman as the one who is Supreme Personality of Godhead, or who will save you from all your dangers. Now we take shelter of Krishna or Lord Ram as the ultimate shelter, as the one who is going to do everything for me. Now, Hanuman, if we have that mood for Hanuman, then it's wrongly placed faith, because we should have that mood only for Lord Krishna. And but you can respect Hanuman as a as your guru, and there is nothing wrong in that. That's perfectly all right. And we always chant, we glorify our guru by chanting prayers for guru, and that there is nothing wrong in that as well. So if your mood is this, then that's all right. However, if your mood is that Hanuman himself is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who is going to give me liberation, or is going to be saving me from all my difficulties, well, then it needs slight correction. Then you need to be focused on the the Lord Ram or Lord Krishna, and uh, be respectful to Lord Hanuman as a guru who has shown you this path. Maybe that will be helpful.
Yes, Prabhuji. I mean, what I mean to say is, in our morning prayers, I also have that Hanuman Chalisa done and pray Hanuman, and not just Hanuman Chalisa, but the way Hanuman has performed his duty towards Lord Rama. I mean, that is the thought behind. But later on, when you are in materialistic uh, way of life, when you are out, there are so many things which you face. And what sometimes spontaneously it used to come, which has deep rooted, is about the thought of Lord Hanuman. That's what comes spontaneously. I mean, I'm not saying it, I'm purposely doing it, it comes spontaneously. And that's spontaneous. And unless, sometimes it also happens when you are chanting Hanuman Chalisa, you get a break, then all of a sudden you become conscious and you want to restart from the beginning and complete your chant. So that's a spontaneous. But as I said, we are all devotees of Krishna. Ultimately we all want to be in the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and he is the supreme. So, no doubt in that, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. So we'll end today's session. Vikas, you have a hand raised, so I don't know if you forgot to keep it down or
Hare,
you have to say something. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. No, actually, it was, if you just allow, it was just for Mataji asked one question on economy. So I heard about a book written by a English author who wrote it about India. And after industrialization, the GDP is continuously coming down. He writes beautifully that in the Vedic time it used to be some 30% plus, and we can see in our modernized India. So that also shows directly to us the implementation of Vedic scripture. That time it was, then the GDP of the India used to be 33% of the world. He actually writes in his book, and in this century we all know that it is somewhere 7 8. And to Swapnil Prabhuji also, I hope I heard it from Amogila Prabhuji or some one of the devotees. He explains that Lord Hanuman, when Ramcharit Manas was being written by Tulsidas ji, he was trying to glorify Hanuman, and Hanuman ji used to literally cry from the sitting on the branch of that particular tree under which Tulsidas ji was writing that, and he was wiping out his glorification with the tears. And he eventually told Tulsidasi that, please don't glorify me, glorify my Lord, and I will be more pleased with that. So ultimately, Hanumanji is also pleased. We are worshipping Lord Ram, Lord Krishna wholeheartedly, and that is also, as you have already touched upon very deeply on that. But I thought that example was relevant. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for joining and staying back till 1:42. Sorry about the late the delay, but the question answers are always just a suggestion. By keep sessions time limit for effective and yes, Roji, I agree that we can take the question answers offline at times. But what happens typically is most of the people who join, we close by 1, and from then onwards only those who have questions probably they remain. So it's perfectly okay to drop after 1 o'clock. Unless you want to stay back to hear question answers, then we can't. But I don't want to cut down on the questions because there are very few opportunities for that people get to ask questions, and which I can also then give answers according to my capacity or direct them to some other authorities, because this is the only slot that we get to interact. But but generally when the session closes, generally I think today we started at around 11:30, we closed at about 1, and that is how it will be. Our effort will be to make it about 1.5 hour session maximum with group discussion, etc. so that we don't want unnecessary extension of time for others. So others can they should they are free to drop once the original session gets concluded. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that suggestion. And we'll keep it in mind, and we'll try and take the questions offline. But offline again, becomes a challenge because most questions come spontaneously. So that spontaneity, I don't want to lose. Otherwise, afterthought questions may not come only, and we just get caught up in our day-to-day work and then forget what we've heard. So that also affects. So,
Thank you, sir.
but
Thank
yeah,
you,
the
Prabhuji.
balance is required. I agree.
And I believe this spontaneous question and explanation is beautiful part of the complete session that gives a lot of clarification to many of us who had questions or maybe thinking some other maybe thinking not to ask or something like this. That is always a better to have a questions in a group, and it explains clarity to all of us together.
Okay, yeah, thanks so much. Okay, so we'll close today's session. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Dandavat.
Pranam.